welcome to my little paintbrush. My name is Miss Cami and I'm so excited to paint this avocado with you today. No matter where you are painting, thank you for joining me. I just want to remind you to be kind to yourself during this class. Remember that we're all different and so our paintings will be different as well. So don't be too hard on yourself, especially if you're a beginner. We're all learning, so let's just enjoy the journey, okay? Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to grab a nice big flat brush and I'm going to start with my avocado. But we need to get our bristles wet, right? So into some clean water, I'm just going to swish it around and then tap or drag off any extra water. Here is my palette. We've got some nice fun colors on there. You can see this green right here. I need to lighten that up quite a bit for the inside of my avocado. So I'm just going to pull just a little bit of green to start because I want a very, very light green. So I'm going to add a little bit of green at a time instead of a big scoop. We'll just do a little bit here and there until we get that nice light color for the inside of our avocado. It's important to remember that your paint will dry a shade darker on your canvas. So when you're mixing your paint, always go on the lighter side, okay? So now we have this fun shade and we're just gonna go ahead and fill in our entire avocado, even right over those circles for my eyes. I don't even need to worry about that. I don't need to worry about going inside of that circle where the pit will be either because it's going to be darker. Add some water if you need to. And we're just going to paint around. Okay, I'm not going to try and go around even the little center of my daisy flower. I'm just going to go right over it. We're going to avoid unnecessary shapes if we can, okay, and just fill in our space. All around. We'll even go out on our little hands here. That way when we do our next layer, everything will dry just about the same, okay? So we'll go into those hands like that, and our cute little feet down here. Fill it all in, okay? So that was pretty easy. Let's go ahead and wash our brush. Swish it around really good. Get all that green out because we're going to go into our background, which is a nice bright pink, okay? So I want to make sure my brush is super clean. All right, so here we've got bright pink, and I want to lighten it up a bit. So I'm going to pull over some white and just start to mix that. And of course, you can have as bright or as light a background as you want with your piece. I'm going to go about this shade and I'm going to start to fill in my background. I'm going to work away from my avocado and not get too close to it yet. That way I can work quickly. This is a great time to wrap those edges of your canvas. And I'm just going to fill this in. Notice my brush strokes are kind of favoring the shape of my avocado. So I'm kind of going in these circular motions. I'm going to go ahead and get some more water on my brush, loosen up my paint. Remember, our acrylic paint gets thirsty, so we need to give it a good drink every once in a while. Okay, when I have the main space around my avocado filled, then I'll start going close up, right up next to it, okay? And of course, I need to slow down my stroke a little bit for that part, because now I want to be careful not to get inside of it, right? So I'm going to go a little bit more slowly, remembering that if I do get inside my avocado, it's okay, mistakes happen, right? And we can usually fix those. So I'm just going to keep going around, pressing my bristles. See, I press all the paint to the edge of my bristles. Okay. Load up again. Come up here and go around. Remember, we're gonna have a nice dark brown outline around our avocado. So this doesn't have to be perfect. Right now we're just getting that background in and around this little hand. Now what I like to do before I wash my brush is just load it back with my background, put some white on one edge, and just kind of add a fun glow around my main object, which of course is my cute avocado. And notice it just lightens up the space closest to the avocado, and then it gets darker as you go towards the edges. And see, I'm just working my wrist pretty quickly, and that's what you want to do to get a nice blend so you don't have any sharp lines or sharp brush strokes. Everything's nice and blended. All right. Awesome. Let's wash our brush again, okay? Get it in there, swish it around really good. And we're gonna go ahead and set this nice big brush aside, and we are going to move to a round brush, okay? And number 6 is what I have here. And now we're going to get it wet, and we're gonna put that darker edge of green around our avocado. So that's the original green right here. I'm gonna load up my brush, okay? And I'm gonna come over here, and the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill in my cute little hands. Just fill that in just like that. Green tends to be pretty shy, so you'll notice it's pretty thin. So we might have to do several coats, or at least 2, but that's okay. And then I'm just gonna go around my avocado with this brush, pushing the paint as I go. Okay. Giving it that nice rim of darker green around it. All the way around. So it's kind of like you're doing a super thick outline, okay? You can think of it that way, that might help. And like I said, we can come in with a second layer if we need to, if we feel the need to once this one dries. Okay, and just keep going, fill in that hand right there. Cute little hand. And keep going around this guy. Or a girl, whatever your avocado is today. Mine's a girl. Cute daisy in her hair. But of course you can switch that up. That's the fun thing about being the artist. You can change up the masterpiece however you want. Let's go ahead and put in those cute little feet. And just shape them in there. Again, planning on doing another coat to make sure it's nice and covered well. Okay. All right. Looking pretty good. Let's wash this brush out. And let's go back to a flat. This time I'm going to grab a little bit smaller one, okay? And I'm going to get into my brown paint. After I get my bristles wet, come over to my brown paint here, and load it up, and I'm going to fill in my little, or rather big seed, huh? Avocados do have a pretty big seed here in the center. And just put that in here. Brown is also shy. It can be frustrating sometimes to paint with brown. So if you're feeling frustrated, remember you can do more than one layer of paint, okay? And we'll go back and add some to this anyway, but don't get too frustrated with seeing brush strokes quite yet. We're going to come back to it. All right. Here we go. Our avocado's coming along. Okay, wash that brush out really good. Swishing it around. And let's go up to that center of our daisy, okay? So that's going to be yellow. I might just pull just the teeniest bit of white with it. Get a nice scoop of paint on my brush, and I'm just going to fill in that center little circle. It's going to be the center of my daisy. Daisies are my favorite flower and perfect as we think about spring, right? All right, that's in there. Washing my brush again. Always make sure you keep your brushes clean. Let's go back to our round and back to that edge of our avocado. So back to this green I go. This will be my final layer. So I want to make sure this one is a little bit more steady, right? And try and stay as consistent as I can with the thickness here. So I'll come in here, fill in that hand all the way to the edge there, pressing my bristles out to give me a nice edge. Okay, and you can see this next layer really helps that green. Pressing it, filling it in here. Come over here and do this other foot. These cute little feet on our avocado. Of course, if you have a smaller flat, you could definitely go around this avocado with a smaller flat as well. Again, just think about you outlining your entire avocado just like that. Okay, just got the little head up here to do. And around. Okay, I'm gonna wash this brush out really good. Okay, you can see I got a little brown from my palm right there in our background, so I'm gonna just put a little pink on my brush and cover that up. Always do that, don't worry about things like that. All right, let's go back to our medium-sized flat, or the biggest flat that you have, okay? And we're gonna load it with this green color that we started with, this light green. Load it really good, and then a corner into that darker green. And now we're gonna follow this and kind of have this nice faded edge along where the bright green and the dark green meet. You can see that coming up here. That way it kind of just, they just kind of go into each other like a real avocado would, right? Nice faded look all the way around our avocado. Load it with that light green and a little bit of that darker green. Just going all the way around. Just like so. And you can see it starts to have this nice faded, kind of call this ombre kind of look to it. Okay, I'm going to come up here. I'm not going to be too concerned because I'm going to have a big flower right there. So I'm not going to worry about getting too close to that center there. While I have this, I'll just kind of go back into that dark green and make sure anything that needs a little extra coverage, like my feet down here, it's nice layer of green. Again, remember, our greens are pretty shy. So if you have to work on many layers, that's totally normal, okay? All right, let's wash that out. Give it a good rinse. And let's move back into our nice big seed. So what I need to do is make some nice dark rich brown with some black. Mix it into that brown. Remember, black goes a little bit, goes a long way, so just took a little bit and made a nice rich brown with it. You can see that there. Okay, then I'm going to wash my brush again now that I've mixed that together. All right, now I'm going to load with regular brown, go into my seed one more time, and just get it nice and wet again, and another layer. We need our paint to be wet if we want to blend. You have to blend wet into wet with acrylic, okay? So load and then a little edge of that dark brown, and then we're going to go all the way around our seed with that dark edge. You see that? Okay. And this is where we'll really clean up those edges with that nice dark rich brown. Just go all the way around, pressing your bristles so they fan all the way to the edge of your brush to give you a nice clean edge. See there? Now our seed has that depth. It's looking really good. All right, let's rinse that brush out. Swish it around a few times. Let's go into our feet and our hands. I'm going to load with this nice dark green. And I'm going to put a little white on the edge here. I'm going to go to the tops of my feet. And I'm going to add this nice highlight. See that there? This will just separate 2 feet here. Just go all the way around if you can, just like that. Same thing, I'm gonna load in there, do a little bit, go into my hands, and add a little highlight in there as well. All right, let's wash it again. And let's go ahead and fill in our eyes now, okay? So with my flat brush, I'm going to get into some black paint. I've got those circles already on there for me, so I can just follow those circles with my brush here. Again, pressing with the bristles so they fan out all the way around. So there's one eye, and we'll do another one. Pressing, flip our brush and press again. See how I do as much of that circle in one stroke as I can. All right. Wash that brush out again. Always got to keep our brushes nice and clean. All right. While we wait just for a second to do our daisy, you can see up here we just got a little bit of wet paint. We're going to let that area dry for a second, and we're just going to go double check to make sure this is nice and filled in. But we're going to avoid where our daisy is, okay? We don't want to go over there. We want it to dry. We're just going to give another layer of paint while we're waiting for it to dry around here. Okay. There we go. It's looking like an avocado to me. Okay, washing our brush again. And let's start on those daisy petals, okay? So we're going to use our round brush. This brush is going to help you put those petals in so quickly. We're going to load with white paint, a nice amount. See how much paint is on my brush? So much. We're going to take our brush and start at the very top where our cute little yellow center is. And we're going to pull, let's just make sure that's nice and dry. We're going to pull up and press, okay? See that? So we start at the bottom, and as we're going up, we're pressing our brush out, okay, to make our first petal. Now we're going to do the same thing at the bottom. We're going to press out like that, okay? So let's keep building that flower. Now we're going to come over here and do the same thing, pressing out as we go. Okay, building that flower. Do you see it coming together? We're using our brush here to give us the shape we need. So it makes it nice and simple. Just keep building that flower. Okay. Come over here. Just keep going around and around our little center. It's kind of starting to look like sunshine, huh? And just keep going. Flowers can be so fun to paint if we just know how to use our brush and the shape of brush. All right, so there's the first layer of our cute daisy. While we let that dry for just a second, we're going to come in with this same brush, this round brush, and we're going to put a highlight right into our seed. Come around here and then press. So same kind of motion as I did in my flower where it's light pressure and then I push down a little bit harder. Okay, all right, let's wash that brush out. It's looking pretty cute. Let's go into our yellow and add, I'm just going to keep using this round brush that I have here. I'm just going to add another layer of yellow to the center of my flower so it's nice and bright and not too shy there, okay? And let's see, let's add a little bit of white to it and go ahead and put a highlight in there. All right, wash our brush out. Let's check on our eyes here. Maybe add a little bit of black in there if our black was feeling a little thin from our water. Add a little bit. I think it's time for a smile. So let's go to our detail brush. So you just want to find a nice little brush, okay? And we'll get it wet and we'll loosen up our black paint. Nice and loose. Okay, and my smile is way up high, right in between the eyeballs. I think that that's just kind of fun. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that smile right there, right between the eyes, okay? Kind of silly, huh? Wash that brush out again. And now I'm going to do the trickiest part of the painting, and that is that brown layer where it's just right on the outside of the avocado, right? That skin that we kind of peel away. So I'm going to use this nice rich brown in my detail brush. What I'm going to do though is avoid anywhere that my daisy petals are, okay? So I'm just not going to worry about outlining that. I get my brush wet, loosen up my darkest brown, so not the light brown, this is the darker brown. And I'm going to start to go around my avocado. Right, just nice and gently go around this cute little guy and just make a little indent where that arm is. Okay, just like that. We'll come up here. Like I said, I'm going to avoid going too far into my daisy right now, so let's just start down here. We'll go around here. Same thing, I'll kind of bring that stroke in like that. Then we'll come down this way. Add some water to our brush. If your brush can't hold paint for a full stroke, then it's probably needing some water, okay? So I'm going to come in here and just keep going all the way around my avocado here, all the way to the feet. We'll do the same thing on this side. And you can totally take your canvas off the easel for this step if you need to. Lines are tricky, so I'll come into the feet, and instead of doing a full outline, I'm just going to separate my feet like that. So just outlining kind of the tops of them and around the corner, just like that. All right, now let's get up here as best we can, up around the head of our avocado here, all the way into where the daisy petals begin. And I'll bring this up here. Light pressure, right? Not pressing too hard. We've got a nice line around our avocado. All right, let's wash that brush out. Let's go back to those daisy petals, okay? So back to my round brush, load it up really good with paint. Now we're really going to shape in these petals, okay? So they're gonna get a little bit thicker now. We're gonna press even more here. Okay, press even more. With lots of paint, right? Pressing all of our paint out, pushing it out, making our petals a little bit thicker, even letting some of them touch if they want to. Totally fine. Okay, just keep going. Notice it's light pressure, and then I start to push my brush. Light pressure, and then I start to push it out. And I'm just building these petals as we go around with lots and lots of paint, okay? There we go. Making them look like they're all a little bit different here. Okay, so as we have that, now we're gonna start to add a little bit of brown. So I have my brush here, and I'm just gonna go into that darkest brown, okay? And just on the left-hand side, I'm gonna press in a little bit of brown. Just barely, not a whole lot, okay? Every petal can have just a different amount of brown. Every time I go in, I just put a little bit on my brush. Trying to favor one side here. Just try and stick with that as you go around. If you have a petal that gets a little much, you can go back. Remember, we can usually fix things up. So we're just going to try and stay on that left-hand side of our petal here. Have those two together, just like that. All right, we have one more step to do, and that's just to add some nice dark brown around our daisy. So let's switch to our detail brush again. Let's get it wet. Swish it around in that dark brown and loosen up our paint. The first thing I want to do is come to the left-hand side of my center and just do just a nice, almost like a C, just right on that left-hand side. Now I'm going to follow, same thing, left-hand side, go around my petals. See how I'm just favoring that one side. I'm not outlining the entire petal. I'm just going around on that side there. Okay. So give them a nice separation and help them all kind of, oops, keep getting globs of paint here. Let's keep going around. See how I barely curve that curve around that petal, just barely like that, okay? So we'll just keep going all the way around our flower here, okay? I'm resting my palm on my canvas, and you can do that, but be careful for those little cheeks because they are still wet. We just barely put them on there, right? All right, almost done. Let's go around here. Add some water to my brush. Swish it around a little bit. And finish off these last petals, keeping to that one side. Okay. One more. Just right there, nice and curved over that. All right. Well, you guys, I think we are finished. Let's sign our name. That's really important. I think I'll go ahead and do it with this dark brown. Okay, so I'm going to load up my detail brush with my dark brown paint, and I think I'm going to sign it right down here. Okay, put your name on there. Oh, a little bit of white right there. And then you're all finished. Thank you so much for painting with me. I hope you love your avocado. When it's nice and dry, hang it up where everybody can see. And I hope to paint with you sometime soon. Bye-bye.